The stars have always looked back at us. For thousands of years, they were silent watchers, glimmering beyond the reach of understanding. We gave them names. We told stories about them. We built myths around their patterns. And for so long, they remained distant, beautiful, eternal, unknowable. But slowly, we learned how to listen. We built instruments. We measured the sky. We discovered that those stars were not lanterns in a dome, but suns, entire systems with their own planets, their own histories, their own possibilities. Now, we stand on the edge of a new kind of exploration, not of surface or soil, but of air, of breath, of the invisible worlds orbiting those suns. And at the heart of this new chapter stands the James Webb Space Telescope. Not just a machine of glass and gold, but a mirror turned outward and inward. It is our eye in the deep, our ear to the silence, our hope stretched across light years. Its mission is deceptively simple: to study the atmospheres of exoplanets, to read the chemistry of skies we cannot see, and in that chemistry, to search for the conditions and maybe the signatures of life. The discovery of exoplanets changed everything. In the early 1990s, we found the first planet orbiting another star. Since then, we've cataloged thousands. Some are massive gas giants whipping around their stars in tight, blistering orbits. Others are icy, distant, and dim. But a small, precious handful sit in what we call the habitable zone. Not too hot, not too cold, where liquid water could exist on the surface. But the truth is, habitability is not just about distance. It's about the atmosphere. The invisible shield of gases around a planet is what determines if life is possible. It regulates temperature. It protects from radiation. It enables chemistry. It carries the signatures of biology, if biology exists at all. And until now, we've never had the tools to study these alien atmospheres in detail. We could detect the planet, sometimes estimate its size or orbit, but the air around it? That was a dream. James Webb has changed that. For the first time, we can analyze what the air on another world is made of. We can tell whether a planet has clouds, storms, vapor, or silence. Webb does not capture planets in high definition. It does not take portraits. Instead, it listens to how planets alter starlight. When a planet passes in front of its star, some of the light from that star filters through the planet's atmosphere before reaching us. Molecules in that atmosphere absorb specific wavelengths of light. Each type of molecule, water, carbon dioxide, methane, oxygen, leaves a distinct fingerprint. Webb detects those fingerprints through a method called transit spectroscopy. It takes the raw light from the star, breaks it apart into a spectrum, and analyzes the dips, the subtle absences where certain colors are missing. From those gaps, scientists can reconstruct the contents of the atmosphere. It's like seeing a stained glass window not by looking at its patterns, but by studying the color it casts on the floor. In those shadows, we find the truth. In its very first observations, James Webb proved its power. It detected water vapor in the atmosphere of WASP 96b, a hot gas giant over 1,000 light-years away. Then it found carbon dioxide in the atmosphere of another giant, WASP 39b, the first time that molecule had ever been confirmed on an exoplanet. The planets Webb has studied so far are not Earth-like. They are massive, hot, and inhospitable. But they are stepping stones, proof that the technique works, that we are no longer dreaming, we are measuring. Soon, Webb's gaze will fall on planets more like our own, rocky worlds in the habitable zones of calm, cool stars. Places like the TRAPPIST, one system with 7 Earth-sized planets, 3 of which may have conditions right for life. We are preparing to read their skies. And in those skies, we may find answers. Atmospheres are more than weather systems. They are chemical stories. Carbon dioxide may suggest volcanic activity. Methane might come from organic matter or from geology. Oxygen, in large amounts, is particularly exciting. On Earth, it's a direct byproduct of life, photosynthesis. If we find it elsewhere, it raises profound questions. But no single molecule proves anything. What matters is the pattern. Certain combinations, like methane and oxygen together, are unstable. They don't persist without being replenished. On Earth, they are replenished by life. So scientists look not for one clue, but a puzzle. A picture formed from multiple pieces of data. A story that only makes sense if life is part of the explanation. Webb won't see alien creatures, but it may detect alien chemistry. Unbalanced, strange, impossible to explain without something living. This is the beginning, not the end. The discoveries of the next decade will build on Webb's foundations. Future space observatories, like LUVOIR and HABEX, are being designed to directly image Earth-like planets. Others, like the ground-based Extremely Large Telescope, will collect even more detailed spectra from distant worlds. But Webb will remain the pathfinder, the first eye to peer into the invisible breath of another planet. The first tool to prove that we can read alien atmospheres and search them for meaning. Every discovery it makes sharpens our vision. Every signal it detects brings us closer to the truth. In the end, our search for other skies reveals something deeper, something more personal. We want to know if we are alone, yes. But we also want to know if what we have here, on this fragile blue dot, is ordinary or rare. We breathe air, but how common is air like ours? We drink water, but is water the cosmic standard or the exception? We live in balance with a biosphere, an atmosphere sculpted by living things. Does that happen elsewhere? Or is Earth a miracle? By studying other planets, we better understand our own. We realize how delicate our conditions are, how narrow the range for habitability really is, how precious our atmosphere has always been. In looking for life out there, we may find deeper meaning here. There is something poetic in the fact that Webb operates in silence. No engine noise, no broadcast, just data, light transformed into code, into spectra, into meaning. It waits patiently in the cold shadow of space, watching the flicker of distant stars, measuring the tiniest variations in light, and drawing conclusions from what is missing. It is not flashy, it is not fast, but it is patient. And in that patience, it is beginning to uncover the most profound truths of all. It is revealing atmospheres we never thought we could know. It is translating the silent breath of distant planets into signals we can understand. And in those signals, we may one day find a voice not our own. To search for exoplanet atmospheres is to search for presence, not of civilization, not of noise or architecture, but of continuity, of the silent breath of a world. It is to look at a flicker of light and imagine a wind blowing over alien terrain, a sky where rain might fall, a surface where light warms the soil, where gases rise and fall, where perhaps, in some microscopic way, life adapts and endures. James Webb is listening for that breath. And as it listens, we wait, with quiet hope, for the day when the air of a distant planet says something unmistakable. I am alive.